Hi, I'm Dale.
And I'm Sandra. Welcome to the Unbreakable Marriage Seminar, Session 6.
That's right.
The shared vision for your future together. This is extremely important information to unite the two of you into a strong, resilient team. But before we begin, Dale is going to open us up in a prayer, asking for God's help to build our marriages into a loving relationship that God has always planned it to be.
So if you'd all bow your heads with me, please. Lord, help us to remember when we first met and the strong love that grew between us. Help us love in practical ways, in the form of true love, that nothing can divide us. May our words be loving and our thoughts be gracious. May we remain humble enough to ask for forgiveness and wise enough to freely give. We ask these things in the name of Jesus, our Lord and our Savior. And everyone said, Amen.
Well, we hope everybody's been using all the tools you've learned on communication, problem solving, loving generously. We're going to quick run through them. Remember couples time, talking 30 minutes a day without distractions.
Yeah.
And then there's check-in on a 1 to 10 scale. How are you doing? How can I help? Active listening, eye contact, and listening with both your ears and your heart.
Yeah, good.
There's I statements when you say I feel, and then you put the emotion in, when, and then describe the situation without any blaming words or tone. And of course there's echoing. You echo or reword what they said, so you're both clear on the communication. And pause for 5 minutes usually, sometimes a little longer. Then go and, if you're upset, settle down, calm down, and think of a win-win solution.
So San just reminded you of the communication techniques that we've discussed in the first few sessions of the Unbreakable Marriage Seminar. In the last couple of sessions, we talked about how to actually show your husband or your wife that you love and adore them. And San and I encourage everyone to use, here we go, the 10-to-1 rule. Remember, it takes 10 positive, loving actions or compliments to make up for just one negative exchange between a husband and a wife.
Yes.
And another thing that we've learned, I think in the last week's session, is the importance of deposits into each other's emotional love bank account. You see, each of us needs to hear and feel loving words and actions every day to feel appreciated, to feel respected, and of course, to feel loved. And let me just pause here for a moment. I want to emphasize again why it's just not important, but it's actually necessary that we daily put our love into action with our husband or our wife. Now listen, everyone. Every single one of us, whether some of us realize it or not, needs to feel loved, appreciated, and respected. This is true of men, and this is true of women.
Right.
It's more than just a desire or a hope.
Oh, it's
for each and every one of us, right, Sam?
right. It's a need.
It's actually a need that we have. So, many marriages that fail, they fail because one of us was not fulfilling the need for love that our spouse has. And hear this, everyone. The need for love that each of us has is so great that some, if that need for love is not being fulfilled at home, are tempted to seek that need outside of our marriage. And that's when a marriage falls apart. I don't believe marriages ever fall apart because a couple are too loving. Right? Do you agree with that? So please, everyone, take every opportunity. Make deposits into your wife's or husband's love bank account. And then we want to remind everyone to do a romantic slow dance. I'll guarantee you that dancing slow and close to a romantic song will pay huge dividends. Sorry.
Okay, and remember the good fight formula? Those are the steps that walk you through to a win-win compromise. Now, you've all learned so many valuable tools already in this marriage seminar. But again, I want to caution you
Right.
that if you both don't use these tools, they're not going to help you create a stronger, more loving relationship.
Right.
It's useless unless you use them. So our goal in this session is discovering how to create unity. And unity will maintain our love for a lifetime. So let's begin with reasons why couples drift apart.
Yeah, that's good.
And when they drift apart, they break their unity and they'll break their love. The first reason they drift apart is they live parallel lives. Well, this is so easy to fall into. No one plans it when they get married. When we fall in love, we want to spend every moment together. Then we get married, and little by little, we let the demands of life rob us of our time together. We start letting our career or our friends or our hobbies and later our children fill our days.
Yeah, caution.
Yeah, we're physically in the same house. We may even be in the same room, but we're less and less emotionally and socially connected.
Yeah, so true.
And this is a great threat to your relationship and your love, so beware of that.
So here's another reason why some couples fall apart, drift apart. It's allowing ourselves to fall into destructive response habits, right?
Right.
Angry or even disrespectful quick responses will definitely hurt our spouse.
Yeah.
It's going to cause large withdrawals to our spouse's love bank. And when this behavior becomes a habit for us, you can darn sure bet that your marriage is not just as good as it could be, but your marriage may be in very serious trouble. And listen, everyone, if you think, oh well, he or she is probably not just the right fit for my personality, and I think, heck, I'll just move on and find someone else. Let me tell you something here. If you're the one who's rude and inconsiderate, if you're the one who doesn't make a practice to love on your wife or your husband every single day, then you can darn sure expect your next spouse isn't going to like your bad behavior either.
Nope.
And that's why the divorce rate, quite honestly, for second marriages is just as high, or in fact it's higher than it is for first marriages. Again, if you're the one with quick, careless, and disrespectful and unloving responses to your spouse, then it's time for you to stop looking for your spouse to change. It's time for you to change.
Yeah.
Gosh, sorry, San, I just realized that talking about things that cause marriages to fall apart can really get me all revved up.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for a pause.
Yeah, maybe you need a pause. Okay, now here's another reason. Not trying to meet your spouse's most important needs. This is a huge mistake. The truth is, to keep our love passionate, we need to meet our spouse's most important needs. Because when we're around someone who's trying to meet our needs, we find that person irresistible.
It's true.
And we have loving feelings toward that person who is meeting our needs. So the last thing that causes a couple to drift apart, and that is when you push your spouse's fear buttons. And you can do this deliberately. Some people do it deliberately, which I don't understand that, or unconsciously. And then they set in motion these negative reactions. And that's when this starts. When you start realizing this is happening in a discussion, you have to stop with a pause. That will give you a time to start choosing to seek a harmonious discussion, to reset your thinking to more harmony, and it will cause the disunity and hurt feelings and those large withdrawals from your love bank to stop. You have interrupted that with a solid pause. I feel things are going wrong. I pause, and then I don't have those hurt feelings. I don't have withdrawals from their love bank. I have stopped it all with a pause. Okay, Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they agree? This is the scripture we based this session on disunity that we are basing everything on. We need to agree. and
Yeah.
it takes time to agree on things. So disunity, of course, is the root of so many marriage problems. Problems like growing apart emotionally or physically, incompatibility, financial problems, taking each other for granted, loneliness. All those are caused by disunity.
Yeah. And now that we've seen the pain that disunity causes, we can see the importance of creating, we can see the importance of creating a shared vision
Yes.
and shared goals for our marriage. Now, San's created a tool for you to use as a couple. It's a tool to discuss and agree upon your family values, how your home will look, and how you, as a couple, will handle your finances.
Right.
This activity is called the marriage agreement.
Marriage agreement, my favorite tool. It is wonderful.
And it is a good one. So after this session's video that we're going to be watching, we're going to be showing you how to do this activity, this marriage agreement activity. So now we ask that you sit back and enjoy this session's video. And then at the end of the video, we're going to invite you to enjoy a song that our worship team did a few years ago, singing an original song written and sung by Rebecca Lambert. Mm-hmm. This video now that you're going to watch is about 25 minutes long. So San and I will be back with some more information in our closing remarks at the end of the video. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Unbreakable Marriage Seminar. We're happy you've chosen to join us. I'm Sandra Borchardt.
And I'm Dale Borchardt. This program session is entitled A Shared Vision for the Future. Marriage is a covenant designed by God. It's not a marriage contract designed by man. A marriage covenant means you both willingly lay down your rights and pick up your responsibilities to love, respect, and meet your spouse's needs. Lay down your expectations and demands and instead seek to serve and submit to meet your husband's or your wife's needs and desires out of love for God and for them.
But let's pause for a second because we want to talk about some of us having excessive expectations and demands of our spouse.
Right.
May even demand our spouse meet all of our needs. Sometimes we demand, but most of the time we just show them by raising an eyebrow or a sigh. They're not measuring up. It is so discouraging for any of us to feel like a disappointment to someone we love so much.
Yeah. The truth is only God can meet all of our needs. If you or I demand that our spouse meet all of our needs, we're setting them up for certain failure.
Absolutely.
And yourself for disappointment. Mm-hmm. When we decided to get married, we all had a vision of the marriage and the spouse that we wanted and expected.
And throughout our life, we've envisioned the wife or husband we'd eventually marry. We created our dream marriage and our perfect spouse, both which existed only in our minds. He would be smart.
She would be beautiful.
He'd be handsome.
My wife would be just like my mom.
He'd be an excellent father.
She'd be a great chef, and she'd keep a beautiful and organized home. My wife would look after every one of my needs.
And my husband would be kind and selfless, just like my dad. He would certainly be an excellent father and he'd know how to fix things, and he'd be very sensitive and always attentive to me. He would work hard and make a good living. He'd be so loving all the time. Oh, the list of expectations, they go on and on. Sometimes they were conscious, but most of the time they were just wishful dreaming. We were unconsciously creating our perfect marriage script designed by us, for us.
And very fortunate for San, when we got married, I met every one of her expectations, needs, and desires. Right, San?
Of course, darling. Well, unfortunately, in most cases, we walk down the aisle with our marriage script tucked under our arm. We have detailed hopes and dreams for our marriage, but unfortunately, we've not shared most of them with each other.
Right.
And after we get married, each of us is shocked when our spouse is not following our marriage script. We ask why. It's because they only know their marriage script. Our hopes and expectations and dreams, well, they seem right to us. We think it should be easy, light as a feather. But when we force our spouse to live our marriage script with our expectations and hopes and dreams, well, it turns from feeling like feathers to rocks of expectations and demands. So, because we each have our own expectations and needs and desires, it's important that we, as a couple, discuss all these issues with our husband and wife. So to make that easy, I've developed a great tool. It's kind of fun to do. It's called the marriage agreement. We'll be discussing it soon.
Now, looking at things realistically, because we're imperfect people, we're probably going to fall short of meeting the expectations that our spouse has for us. As darn near perfect a husband as I am, I know for a fact that I'm not meeting all of San's needs and expectations. She's a very independent person who doesn't place a long list of I wish you woulds on my desk every day. But I know there are a couple of things that I do or I don't do that I need to work on. So what should a husband or a wife do when we experience these shortcomings of unmet expectations? Should we throw up our arms and begin a shouting match between each other? Or should we just stop talking to each other and ignore our wife or our husband altogether? Should we quickly give up and call a divorce attorney? And shortly after that, we go look for someone else? We'll also be imperfect, someone else with new issues and baggage. The answer to those questions is, of course not.
Yes.
So let's just bring this down a bit and look at a wiser decision for a husband and a wife who are dealing with unmet expectations and desires.
Do all things in love. We should give to God any hopes, dreams, expectations, and desires that are not agreed to and unmet. Your spouse was never designed to be burdened with all of your unmet or even unrealistic expectations and demands.
We, that is all of us, should give up trying to make over our spouse in our own image. We married our wife, we married our husband because of their uniqueness. We were attracted to them because they brought something special into our life. So we should get past the small stuff. Stop trying to change their personality, the unique characteristics. Listen, the unique characteristics that God has given them.
That's so true, Dale.
Let's now watch a short video explaining the importance of the marriage agreement.
Good.
To be in a healthy marriage means you need to expect frustrations. Prepare for them and don't be satisfied with being frustrated all the time. See, love is a crazy thing where changes take place in both of you, where you rethink destructive behavior, where you think about how to meet each other's needs and turn the fears inside out. We have a lifetime of cool ideas which help you navigate the tricky waters of communication in marriage. They all require one key thing: that you make your relationship your real priority, where the two of you are the center of your world. If you look at your marriage in this context, then every problem you face has to be solved because the goal is to keep the marriage healthy and alive. You might be too young to know this, but love is a battlefield. It's a song, but it's also true, kinda. So don't use words as weapons. Weapons hurt and leave scars. Even when you're upset, you don't really want to hurt your spouse, right? This doesn't mean avoid conflicts. You have to face them head on and eliminate them. You look for ways to address your own weaknesses instead of attacking your partner's. You forgive, understand, apologize, and let go. But if you can both shift your mindset to think like this, then your marriage will be full of joy.
Time to design your marriage. This is the most important activity you will do to prepare for a healthy marriage. Together, you will create a shared vision for your future. The marriage agreement helps you as a couple design the marriage you have always wanted. It walks you through decisions of what your home will look like, what family values your family will have, and how you will handle your finances as a family. Upon completion of this activity, you will have a clear idea of what your marriage will look and feel like. You two are among the lucky few who will know what they are saying "I do" to. This is the most important activity in the Becoming One Marriage program. So take your time creating a shared vision for your future together. Take out the marriage planner and exchange your preference surveys on home appearance, family values, and financial security. Open the marriage planner to the marriage agreement. Together, fill out the marriage agreement comparing your expectations and compromising on each topic as you plan a perfect marriage for the two of you.
Marriage agreement is identifying what your expectations will be as a family for each major area of married life. For instance, what your family values are going to be, how you want your house to look, how you're going to handle your finances. Once you decide that as a couple, you now have a shared vision for what your married life is going to be. The marriage agreement is such a great tool because for the first time you will have the same idea of what you are working toward in your marriage. So many arguments and disagreements are never going to happen. When Dale and I got married, we had to work through each of these issues one by one by one, and now, today, within a few hours, you're going to settle all the major issues of marriage, and you're going to be on the same page and set the foundation for a secure marriage in a short period of time. It is a fantastic tool. This week's couples activity is the most important activity in the entire program. You will do this activity together as soon as possible this week, before session 7 on intimacy.
Yep.
Designing or redesigning your marriage using the marriage agreement. The marriage agreement is found on page 142 to 172 in my book, The Do's and Don'ts of Marriage. Use the marriage agreement to blend your two personal marriage scripts together to create a shared, realistic vision for your marriage.
As you work through your marriage agreement together, remember to use the communication and problem-solving skills that we discussed earlier in this seminar.
I want you two to practice using I statements.
I feel.
Let's hear 2 statements each. One expressing a negative feeling and one a positive.
Oh, okay. I feel a little bit frustrated when there's shoes in the doorway. And when I get home, I get frustrated. I don't think I ever told you that. For my positive, let me see. Oh, I love our date nights. Even if it's as simple as something like us on the couch watching a movie.
Okay, Mark, your turn.
Okay, well, I guess I get a little irritated when you're playing on your phone while I'm trying to talk to you, but I do feel respected when I can tell you're listening.
I do respect you.
Let's work on one last technique called echoing that we touched on before. Mark,
Yes?
why do you always look up when I talk? I'm not up there.
Oh, okay, sorry. Where should I look?
I don't know. Your wife, maybe? Mark, think of something you want or want to do.
I want to watch the game later.
Okay. Tracy, isn't there something you wanted to do this evening instead?
How does he know this? Yeah, I actually want to return the shirts that didn't fit, and I wanted Mark to help me pick out paint for the bathroom.
Let's hear that echo, Mark.
So, you want me to help you shop for paint later? Okay, well, I guess I can record it if we need to miss it.
Smart man. Mark echoed back what Tracy said to make sure he understood what she wanted. Well done. One last technique, pausing.
Hey, buddy, I thought you said echoing was the last one.
I did say that. I make mistakes too, Mark. Let's practice taking a pause in a conversation. Tracy?
Yes.
I overheard you earlier complaining about your laptop being slow.
Yeah, I've had it for about 4 years now, and it's super slow and it's super frustrating.
I want you to talk to Mark about getting it replaced. Mark is going to get heated when you do this because he's a cheapskate.
Yeah, right.
Hey, well, maybe I'm just conscious of our finances.
Whatever.
Well, babe, I wanted to know if we can talk about maybe getting me a new laptop sometime soon.
Tracy, before letting him get all, try requesting a pause. Normally the one who is getting upset calls for the pause, but it can go either way.
Let's put this conversation on pause and do what the strange voice said. How about we talk about this later on?
Okay, sure. I'll take a look at our accounts and see if maybe we can start saving.
Doesn't that feel better?
Yeah.
Good.
To create a marriage that will make both partners relaxed, content, and happy.
Yes.
You are actually establishing your relationship's goals, ground rules, and your vision for the future.
This is your shared marriage script or plan. Remember to agree only to those things you will actually do.
And if you fail, apologize and redouble your efforts to whatever you agreed to. By promptly doing what you agreed to, you'll build trust and security in your marriage.
And in the future, if you find part of the marriage agreement is not working for you, renegotiate that area. Well, we're certainly not implying that the marriage agreement is a legal document. On the contrary.
Right. This agreement is intended to simply bring clarity and definition to the things that you both want in your marriage and your family. Your marriage agreement is a valuable asset to unite the two of you to define your shared marriage plan and your family goals.
The marriage agreement should be personalized to meet your needs as a couple. Each of you should use the blank spaces in the marriage agreement to add the issues that you need to resolve as a couple. Well, here are some ideas that you might use in customizing. You might discuss child discipline techniques that you want to agree on, or what are unacceptable behaviors in your relationship. Discussing in-laws or blended family issues. Any of these and so many more you should add to your marriage agreement to customize it for the two of you. Now, instead of each of you pursuing your personal marriage scripts and goals, you will have an agreed upon shared script and shared goals.
Listen to these words of Amos, an Old Testament prophet who said, "Can two walk together
No.
unless they are agreed?"
That's it.
Sandra and I believe this verse underscores the importance of a husband and wife clearly defining the vision they share for their marriage and family.
So instead of each of you demanding your dreams and your goals be met, together you'll be on the same page. Pursuing shared dreams and shared goals. Upon completion of the marriage agreement, every couple will have agreed on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in your marriage. You'll have worked together to clarify the needs and desires of each of you. When you've completed your marriage agreement, you're going to be light years ahead of most couples.
You know, San and I want to encourage everyone to continue to spend at least 30 minutes talking together every day, being open with each other about your feelings and your desires. Remember to work through problems before they become so huge that you lose control of your emotions. Serve, honor, and respect each other, and above all, pray for each other and pray for your own marriage.
Please enjoy this song written and sung by Rebecca Lambert. It's called More Than Nothing.
You let me sing. I don't take that for granted. And everything that I have is yours. And yeah, it's hard when I don't find the answers. Feels just like you're closing every door. But still, I thank you for grace like a fountain. I couldn't be more sure you called me to this mountain. Let your glory shine around me. Holy Spirit, grow inside me. When they listen to me, let them know your love is true. 'Cause nothing that I've done got me here. Only that you saved me from fear. I am more than nothing because of you. Sometimes it hits me, all the changes you've made in me. And though I've got such a long way to go, I love becoming the girl that makes you smile, even if it's taken quite a while. And so I thank you for grace like a fountain. I need your mercy, Lord, to help me take this mountain. Let your glory shine around me. Holy Spirit, grow inside me. When they listen to me, let them know your love is true. 'Cause nothing that I've done got me here. Only that you saved me from fear. I am more than nothing because of you. Prepare me, renew me, fill me with your light. Rain on me, be near me. I'll never be satisfied.
We want to close this message with something that I'd like to share with you. Dale is good at leaving me short handwritten love notes. I'll find them hidden here and surprising me there all throughout the house. We also give each other greeting cards. Here's one such greeting card that I've treasured, I bet, for decades. And I think it best describes what true love in a marriage should be. When we fell in love, I gave you my heart. When we got married, I gave you my word. As long as I live, I'll give you my love.
Yes, that's San and I and the day of our wedding. Thank you, and may God bless you.
And may God bless your marriage. Thank you so much for watching this session on a shared vision for your marriage. Bye.
Goodbye.
welcome back. Wasn't that song by Rebecca so inspiring?
It sure was.
And it's so appropriate for this session on asking the Lord to change us into the people He created us to be.
Right. So now it's time for all of the couples to relax and enjoy a few minutes of focusing on only each other. We encourage you to hold each other close and enjoy our romantic love dance.
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear. She'll put on her makeup and brushes her long blonde hair, and then she'll ask me to I go there, and I'll say yes. And everyone turns to see this beautiful lady.
Hope you enjoyed that. I know we did. So last week we talked about the document Our Marriage, and we had each couple discuss what values they wanted in their marriage. And some of you created your own marriage value list describing your specific marriage, and other couples decided to use Sans and my list on this. So this is a list of your marriage values, right? It's a way for you as a couple to begin thinking about and agreeing on the description of your goals and your priorities for your relationship.
Yeah, it just defines your marriage.
This list is often referred to as a mission statement.
Right.
So in a business or an organization, when you want to inform your employees and your people outside your organization what the purpose is, you create a mission statement. This activity gave you an overview of your dream marriage priorities to keep you on track as you work through the marriage agreement this week.
Right. You may be wondering why unity and the marriage agreement and a shared vision for your marriage is so important. So we're going to give you some reasons. First off, we have all created our own personal marriage scripts. We talked about that before. We have a basket of dreams and goals and priorities and expectations for our marriage and for our spouse. But unless we discuss them with each other, they have no idea what they are.
No, you're right. And you know, before we become unified in our shared expectations by doing this marriage agreement, we're simply two people aiming at the same marriage target. You see, when we aim at the same target as a couple, we both feel good when we hit the same shared target, right, Sam?
Right, because when you start off, you each are aiming at your own target.
Right.
And you're confused, why aren't they hitting my target? Well, you have never created a shared target to aim at.
So true.
So without goals, expectations, and priorities, we are adrift, each pursuing our own plans, our own priority, and then we get frustrated with our wife or our husbands because they're not cooperating with our dreams.
Yeah.
The dreams that we've not even shared with them, and dreams that they've not agreed to.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We haven't had that discussion, right? The fact is that everyone, without a clear picture of where we want to go and how we're planning to get there,
Right.
the chances of us of achieving our marriage goals is really low. And the chances of us constantly feeling frustrated are really high.
Well, I'd like to illustrate this point with this little a little episode. I'd like you to imagine that you and your husband or wife have decided to have a romantic week together. Both of you are imagining and both of you are excited about the perfect romantic vacation. You jump in the car and start driving, but you've not discussed what a romantic vacation looks like to you and each other. You've not even agreed upon a destination or a plan to get there. You can imagine the frustration, the anger, and the tears when neither one of your expectations are being met. There'd be conversations like, why are you driving to the mountains? I want to sit on the beach. Did you make reservations? No, it's off season in the mountains. There'll be plenty of rooms. Mountains? What makes you think mountains are romantic? I didn't pack any warm clothes. Well, I didn't pack anything for the beach either. The whole thing's a big disaster. And all the drama and the frustration could have been eliminated with a simple discussion and an agreement on how they both would enjoy their week together. Well, of course, we don't jump in the car and go on vacation without discussing and agreeing on where we're going and how we're going to get there.
No, that's right.
But so many people do exactly that. They get married without discussing expectations, priorities, acceptable behaviors, and goals with each other. That creates misunderstandings, disappointments, and frustrations in their marriage.
Yeah. Happens so often, doesn't it? And finally, how can you have a successful marriage until you together have defined what success looks like?
Right.
You see, we can only reach our goals if we've agreed on our goals.
Right.
It's like two people running a race. Neither one knows where the finish line is, right?
Right. So, here's some ways for you to prepare to do your marriage agreement. 1, you decide on a day, time, and place to do your marriage agreement together. 2, you make preparations to be alone with each other with no distractions.
Right.
It will take an average person around 60 minutes. Some people have more things to discuss and it might be 80 minutes, but around that time frame. 3, begin even now to begin praying that the Lord will guide you, unite you, give you wisdom to help you make compromises that benefit the both of you. 4, agree to be honest, vulnerable, and fair as you make these compromises to create the marriage that will be perfect for the two of you. And 5, finally, you have to agree to keep the promises that you will be making in this marriage agreement, or the whole thing will be for nothing. If you only put things down that you will agree to do, and then you know that you can feel secure about this marriage agreement.
And consider this document more of a covenant than a contract, if you would, right?
Well, and it can be, you can talk about different, something's changing, you can talk about different, but whatever you agree to do, you have to keep your promises.
Okay.
Or it really hurts the trust between you two of you.
Well, let's turn to the Bible once and look at some scripture that will help us create unity and bonding in our marriage. Psalms 127:1. Listen, if God doesn't build the house, the builders work in vain.
Right. Gotta have God.
Joshua in 24:15 says, As for me and my family, we will worship the Lord.
That's the unity. They've agreed on it. They are all going to be worshiping the Lord together.
And in 1 Corinthians 13:7, love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Now listen to this. Love doesn't want what love does not have. Love is not proud. Love is not always me first. Love doesn't fly off the handle.
No.
And love doesn't keep score of the sins of others. Love trusts God, always. In love, we always look for the best. We never look back, but love keeps on going to the very end.
That's good. So here's one of my favorite verses in the Bible, and it is 1 Corinthians 14:4. Go after a life of love, as if your life depended on it, because it does. This is such a powerful verse. I suggest you memorize it and maybe make it your family's life verse. Put it where you see it every day. Even frame it like I did. Now, because we know how essential unity and a shared vision is, let's learn some ways to just kind of build into our relationship rituals of unity.
Okay?
Rituals and habits are important because they become part of our daily routine. They're part of our natural response to each other. We don't have to remember to do them or think about them or how we're going to do them. They just become automatic and easy.
Mm-hmm.
So here are some ideas for you to do. Create a ritual of behavior from when you say hello and goodbye.
All right.
Decide together how your hellos and goodbyes will look. Some couples always hug. Some couples hug and a kiss. Some couples hug and whisper I love you words in short sentences like I love you. Whatever you decide on, make your hellos and goodbyes a ritual that you can count on.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another ritual that you should be working on thinking how you're going to develop this. It is the falling asleep ritual. Some couples cuddle for a few minutes, or hug, or say I love you, or any combination of these things. Something you can count on that will connect you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's good. And here's a couple more suggestions that Sand and I have for uniting rituals or behaviors in your marriage. Couples time.
Remember, important.
Right?
Yeah, it's so important.
We've already discussed the importance of the two of you committing perhaps 30 minutes every day.
Oh, at least 30 minutes every day.
Okay, of what we call connection time together, right? Now, I guess there are various forms of connection time, but we'll leave that up to you. Sorry. Dinner time is another opportunity for you. And preparing meals together, enjoying dinner together. Those are rituals that'll connect not only the two of you, but your entire family, right? And here's some basic ideas for having dinner together. Always invite someone to pray over the food. We suggest holding hands while praying together. And if you have them at home, invite your children to participate in prayer. Right?
It can be as simple as the children saying something that they're thankful for today or something that they want to pray about. So if they're sitting around the table, they'll say, I'm thankful for my bunny, or whatever it is, that they're just participating in the prayer. Okay, we're going to talk about the home activities for session 6.
Homework, everyone.
Okay, this is all about a shared vision. So together you are going to read 2 pages in your Do's and Don'ts of Marriage book. You're going to decide on the rituals for hello and goodbye, falling asleep, and dinner time. Then you're going to plan your future by filling out the marriage agreement. It's about in the middle of the book, but you will find it. It looks like this: Design Your Marriage. And we have the page numbers that we'll be sending you, so you know exactly where to find it. And remember that both of you should be starting to add topics that you want to discuss and agree on in the blank spaces, because there are blank spaces throughout the agreement where you can just add things that you want to talk about. This agreement is designed to be customized for your relationship, and it is the most important activity that you are going to do in the entire Unbreakable Marriage program.
So here's some more information on how to do the marriage agreement. We've talked about the importance of customizing the marriage agreement. Now here are some ideas on personalizing this agreement, right?
Right.
We'll include these in our recap email that we'll send everyone this week. So here are some of the ideas for you to consider. How will we agree to stay healthy and physically strong.
That's a good one.
Right? Diet and exercise. How will we balance work and family life?
Right.
That's a challenge for so many of us, right? Also, how will we prioritize spending time together daily and throughout the week? Did you hear the words? How will we prioritize?
It has to be planned or it's not going to happen.
So true. And social life. Discuss your social life. Discuss your personal friendships. And together, choose couples that you enjoy spending time with.
Yes, so that both of you enjoy the couples.
Now here's another one. Developing new friendships with couples and who will value and enrich your marriage.
Yes.
We encourage you to be selective. Hang out. Bond with other couples that have the same values that you have.
Yes.
Right? And on financial issues, remember, financial issues are things that'll fracture marriages. You want to become debt-free.
Well, decide on how, when, and where. That's what they discuss.
And how to use your credit cards, right? And then make a joint commitment to a family spending plan, right? For those that have extended families and prioritizing, you want to be prioritizing how you stay connected with your extended families. Of course, that's making each other. That's making your husband, that's making your wife your very first priority after God, of course. And for those with blended families, discuss those issues in a calm, productive kind of a way. And again, all of these and more are the basis for creating a shared vision for your marriage. And listen, everyone, it's never too late to create a shared vision for your marriage, right? If you've been married for 5, 10, or 20 years, seriously, take the time to create this blueprint. This shared vision is going to smooth out the rough road that you may have just tolerated or considered normal in your marriage for many years. Sam and I encourage you to give it a try. Spend time laying out the shared vision for your marriage. We're sure you'll find this exercise not just rewarding, but you will find it fun to talk through all of these issues, right?
Oh, it's so valuable. At the end, it's so valuable to know. I'm so glad you mentioned that about even if you've been married 20 years. It's time again because everything changes, and I would consider doing this every 5 years to look at it again and see what needs to change because now we have different priorities and things that have to change. So it is something that has to be done every once in a while. Okay, so now is the perfect time to remind ourselves to use our communication skills we've learned. Remember, while you're filling this form out, this is going to be the time you really need these tools. You need them because your I statements using respectful, uniting words to describe your idea or your need, then you're going to need.
Yeah, and so when you're having this discussion about your marriage mission statement, you want to talk using your eye contact, practice your active listening, listen with your heart as well as your ears. Because active listening tells the speaker that you care about them.
Right.
You care about how they feel, and you care about what frustrates them.
Right. And then I love all of my tools, but echoing is so wonderful because when you echo back somebody's communication to them, you're not really necessarily agreeing with them, but you are simply echoing it back so they know you understand their communication. And it's so reassuring when someone speaks to hear the listener echo back. Then the speaker feels understood.
Yeah.
That's why the echoing is such a great uniting tool.
It is.
Now there's a huge chance with all the communicating you do in a day, and especially when you're doing the marriage agreement, because you'll be talking about so many different topics, there's a good chance that you'll misinterpret one of their communications. So if you're not sure what they're not sure about the communication, or if you start to feel a little upset about the communication, that's the trigger to know. Immediately echo back. Say, I heard you say, and then what you think they said. Well, now, if there was a miscommunication, the speaker can clear it up, and they can even apologize if they feel that they've hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
So these essential tools you'll need to feel understood as a person and to feel closer as a couple.
When you work through that marriage agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We can't overemphasize the importance of this activity,
Yes.
the marriage agreement here. It's guaranteed to unite you, to create a shared marriage script for you, and it will eliminate, believe me, it'll eliminate hundreds of arguments.
That's a good reason to do it right there.
And finally, it's going to give you a peace of mind knowing what to expect from each other. Remember, the two of you are a team. You have to work like a team.
Mm-hmm.
A winning team needs clear communication, plus a winning team needs a game plan.
Yes.
A game plan that you both understand and you both agree upon.
Agree to.
That is your marriage agreement.
So here's what you do. Individually, I want you to kind of review and skim through the marriage agreement to give yourself an idea of the topics that you'll be discussing later. And then you'll notice that the marriage agreement is very similar to the marriage preference survey that you did earlier. And both of you need to start thinking of ways to personalize the topics to discuss and settle. You know those things that might become an issue? Add them to the blank spaces in the marriage agreement. And it might take a day or two for you to add all the things, put them in the book, in those blank spaces. Continue to customize the marriage agreement until you both feel that the issues that you need to settle are included. So, you're going to get on the same page. You're going to create a marriage game plan that will not only unite the two of you, but is also a key step in creating your family's legacy.
Oh yeah, that's big. That's huge.
What will your children and grandchildren remember about how you loved and who you were?
Mm-hmm.
You want to give them a solid foundation of respectful, uniting, loving behaviors that they can use to create their own loving marriage. Well, here's an example of something that they might remember. The family is watching TV together. At the commercial, Dad searches his phone for a romantic song and starts to play it. He extends his hand to his wife and says, "May I have this dance?" Then he holds her close and smiles and quietly says loving words only she can hear. The show comes back on, a quick hug. Everybody goes back to watching the show. But what a precious memory for them and for their children. Their children feel secure and safe in their loving family.
This establishing a legacy for your family is huge, and we encourage you to think a lot about how your children, how your friends look at you in your marriage.
And later your grandchildren. It's amazing.
So Sandra and I want to thank you all for joining us for a discussion on how to create a shared vision in unity in your marriage. We want to remind you all to be at church on Monday night, March 22 at 7 o'clock for the big marriage celebration.
Ooh, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
And our final session on intimacy. So we suggest right now that you take time to open up your calendars and set aside a block of time, around 60 minutes on that evening.
No.
Oh, this week.
No. Okay. Dale rewrote some things, but we want you to, we're giving you a little extra time tonight because we're stopping early because we want you, this is so important, to get out your calendars and set out a block of time, around 60 minutes that you are planning to do your marriage agreement. And then that will be on the calendar and ready to go. You both will be prepared for it.
So good.
Sorry.
Thank you for covering for me, sweetie. Hey, good night, everybody. It's been fun. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.